All right, folks. So let's finish up this little second part of this video, right? Before we unpack this, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Thumbs up or thumbs down, that doesn't make a difference. What does make a difference are your comments. So we're gonna finish up the upper core balance principles, right? And two that I wanted you to be more aware of is how the player taps into their momentum and their power. Now, in the first video, I said they use vertical and I said they use lateral power, right? So I don't want you to get confused. They don't have a big motion to the target side. When I say lateral, and as you notice in the video, I said bump, turn. So I was talking about we using torques and forces, right? So we're bumping the imaginary wall, and then we getting up on our toes. I like to say getting up on your toes because they walk on their toes, they walk on the balls of their feet for the most part, right? So that's very, very, very important that you realize that that type player is going to, as I said, face the ball. Now, as you can see, I had a little bit of a bump, and then I'm getting up on my toes. That is extremely important that you realize that player has a tendency to what we used to call in the old days, we would call it early extension. Well, they're not really early extending. They're doing what they do naturally. They get up on their toes and they're using what their power source. Am I saying they're doing a Justin Thomas and jumping off the ground? No, I'm not saying that. I know in the golf industry, we have a tendency to always go to the extreme when somebody talks about something, right? Another thing that I would like to talk about before I forget is how the upper core player gets the club to moving. Now, they actually used the lower part of the body and the upper part of the body to move the core. So they kind of pressure and then move. They kind of pressure and then move. They pressure and then move. So they use it like pretty much a whole body takeaway, right? And the way, if you put it on a force plate technology, you see that player kind of pressure, rebound. But on a rebound, they're already moving that one piece takeaway, right? Another thing to think about with the upper core player, they normally play with a neutral to a weak grip. And with that grip assembly, that trail elbow will not get inside the trail hip. It'll ride on the back hip for release, back here. It will not get up here, like you see some players, that trail elbow gets in front of the hip bone. With an upper core player, that trail hip will ride back here. So if you try to get a upper core player to get their trail elbow in front, only thing you're doing is hurting them. You know, you're not gonna help them play better golf. So it's good to know these type of natural matchups. That allows that player to start getting on the big three. So turf interaction, where are they hitting the ball in the club face? And is the club face open or closed at impact? All right, so here we go. Feet gonna be a little bit closer together. Little neutral grip. I'm just gonna feel, I'm getting up on my toes and I'm facing the ball. Like I said, that is not my swing, but some people say that all players are going to eventually be upper core players because as we get older, we have a lack of mobility and whatnot, right? I'm not one of those people that subscribe to that. I feel if a person takes care of themselves, they do a lot of mobility work, they do a lot of rotational work, you know, I think that they'll be able to stay within the middle core for sure. They may not stay in that lower core as they get 75, 80 years old, but you know what? They probably can get into the middle core manifestations and do really well. All right, here we go again. Weaker grip, feet gonna be closer together. I'm gonna feel I'm facing the ball and then getting up on my toes. Yep. So for me, that feels so unnatural, right? I mean, I can hit that shot if I need to hit that shot because I know the principles from teaching it. I know the principles that's needed to make it happen. But